Stephen King once wrote that nightmares exist outside of logic, and there's little fun to be had in explanations. They're antithetical to the poetry of fear. In a horror story, the victim keeps asking why, but there can be no explanation, and there shouldn't be one. The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest, and it's what we'll remember in the end. My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer. I've always had a vivid imagination, but this dream unsettled me. It was wild and dark and weird, even by my standards. So yes, it began with a dream. Following a typical nightmare pattern, I was late, desperately trying to reach my destination, a lighthouse. For some urgent reason, I couldn't remember. I'd been driving too fast down a coastal road to get there. I'd seen the hitchhiker too late. He was dead. I was convinced they'd put me in jail and I would never see Alice again. Suddenly, his body was gone. I was in shock from the crash. I could hardly stand my feet.
What's up, glitches? My name is Game Overlord V, and I'm a VTuber. What is a game review, if not just a compilation of words with an arbitrary score at the end to estimate your own personal appreciation of a medium before actually enjoying that said medium yourself? Without experiencing the highs and the lows of the medium on your own. I suppose it can be argued that knowing before buying can be its own tension. And if that's the case, I hope this journey of oddities and horror can make you fully understand a basic grasp of this video game. This is my rambling review of Alan Wake
I had to go to the lighthouse.
Remastered.
I knew there was something important waiting for me there.
Okay, enough of that. It's like, what's up, glitches? This is my rambling review of Alan Wake Remastered. At the time of this recording, Alan Wake 2 came out, and it is fantastic, but also very, very interesting to go into if you don't have knowledge of the first. So I would recommend you play the first one. But it's kind of hard to recommend Alan Wake on its own merits. It's a very specific type of game. It's on paper, Alan Wake 1 is a third-person, almost horror, but not quite, like a Stephen King-like story where you are playing as the protagonist.
You think you're God? You think you can just make up stuff? Play with people's lives and kill them when you
And
to the drama?
the story is constantly being changed via narration by the main character at the same exact time. See, Alan Wake is a writer, as you've heard in that intro. But at the same time, he's also the narrator of his own story. But it's also a horror story. I would argue it's not necessarily scary enough that I would consider it a horror story or a horror game. but it's close enough that I guess the tag would apply. There's a dodge mechanic, there's shooting, there's using flashlights on shadowy enemies to break their guard, or the equivalent of, so that you can damage them with guns. Your enemy is quite literally the darkness itself. And so, you know, light is your greatest ally. So, if I had to describe the game, third-person action horror game with a ton of weird odds and ends, straight out of a Stephen King novel, but also like you're being told a story while you're playing the story, if that makes sense. It's a very one-of-a-kind experience, or I guess two-of-a-kind, considering Alan Wake 2 is out. But it's one of a kind in its own way, in that you won't play another game quite like Alan Wake 1 or 2 that capture the exact feeling. It's hard to recommend. And this game, despite, like, the original version of Alan Wake came out, I think, on the original Xbox, or possibly the 360. And this remaster came out on PS5, and I think other systems of similar generation. Like the Series S or X, possibly. I don't exactly know. But, if you can get it, and you can get it on sale, especially, I would highly recommend it. You will not play another game like this ever. It is so weird, so strange. If you've ever seen Twin Peaks, that kind of vibe. Like, where the TV is talking to you, the narrator is talking to you, the characters are talking to you as if you already know what's happening. You find pages throughout that narrate what's going to happen or what's happened before. It's such a strange occurrence that it's really hard to replicate. And once again, light is your ally. So you definitely want to go towards the light. No, you are not dying. Just saying.
You should go into the light. You are only safe.
But yeah, for story reasons, because this game's story is definitely the most important thing about it, I am not really gonna be playing more than just the tutorial. But just know that it starts out relatively weird, then goes into normal stuff, and then goes into very weird things again. And I would argue the game is a little clunky. It is, after all, a very old game from, like, early Xbox. I think 360. I want to say 360. But still, relatively, like, old game in comparison to the current year at the time of this recording, 2023. But, despite the jank, despite a little bit of clunkiness, it is a fantastic experience. I won't say game. I will say experience. And I will warn, though, it is a little bit difficult on normal. So don't feel too bad about playing it on easy if you're gonna. But I would recommend either easy or normal. On hard, the game is just unforgiving, in my opinion. And here we go. We pick up flashlight, and now the game truly begins. Shine the flashlight on the enemy, and then eventually the guard is broken.
You did it. Now the darkness no longer protects him, but it's still inside, controlling him. He can't be saved. He's still a threat. He is still your enemy. Here,
And then get a gun. And this game doesn't have a traditional reticle. Your flashlight is your reticle. And that's more or less it. If you can appreciate this kind of strange atmosphere, this type of a little bit of if you can forgive a little bit of jank and you want one of the most unique storytelling experiences that I've ever experienced, I can already tell you right now, I recommend it. It's going to be very difficult for me to explain why without actually showing you stuff from later, but that would also kind of spoil the point of me trying to convince you to play it. So, I will just say there are very interesting and strange moments that you'll encounter even later on. And yeah, that's basically it. If you can get it on sale, ow. If you can get it for like on sale for less than 20 bucks, absolutely get it. Period. End of story, get it. If you get it for less than 30, it's fine too. But please do not rob yourself of this experience. And I'll see you around, glitches. Bye-bye.